Now I'm going to ask a very highly technical directing question, craft question. How cool was it to bring down the ice wall?
In the end, very cool. At the beginning, terrifying. Because again, it was one of those things that's kind of like the entire series up to that point is all about how impenetrable this wall is, right? And so you think that's one given in the entire show, that this wall is always going to be there. And then again, when I got the script and I read it, and by the way, that whole big sequence is like half a page of script or something. And so it's like, Rome burns, or so it's, the wall falls down. You're like, okay, well, like, really? Like this thing that's been talked about like for 7 seasons, and then now it's actually tumbling down. And so, like, it's terrifying because, nobody, I'd never even imagined before what that might look like. And then also, now that we do have to not only imagine it, we have to manifest it, make it real, then it's like, well, how do you take the wall down exactly? Like, what does that look like? And then how do we present it? Again, a perspective, point of view is a big thing. Seeing it through Tormund's point of view was a big thing. But also just like, there's so many technical questions in this. It's like, you have thousands of White Walkers. You've got, giants and dead people, and you've got an ice dragon. And then it's like, okay, we haven't seen a living ice dragon yet, I don't think, at this point. And then it's like, does an ice dragon breathe fire? Does it breathe blue fire? Like what? Like there's all these things, like, I don't know, like we have to interrogate this idea. And it wasn't, that stuff was not in the script. So we had to like really sort of go into, and again, like it says like the wall falls down. It's like, okay, but like, I mean, how do we do that? And so also like what a lot of people don't, realize is that to create a sequence like this involves many, many, many elements that are shot separately, not together. So for example, the top of the wall is a set, which is really only maybe 15 feet off the ground. It's not like, it's not as high as the ceiling. It's as high as there, maybe. And it's only maybe about the length of from here to the wall back there. Even less, I would say. Maybe from here to that pillar. That's the entire set for the top of the wall, right? Including the crow's nests and all that stuff. There's like 2 real crow's nests, I think, and maybe that much wall. And so all this action of the wall falling and people running and all that stuff happens between here and there, not on a fairly very narrow set, actually. Inside, not outside. And then you have, okay, well, where are the White Walkers going to be? Where are and you're making like, you have maybe 100 extras that have to look like 100,000 extras. And then you've got a dragon. And so, all these different things have to be composited and put together in the same shot, but you're shooting them at all the different times. Like you're shooting the dead guys on the ground, people on horses, dead horses, people, like the people on the wall is a separate thing. People falling off the wall, those stairs, that's a separate element. That people falling down onto mats, like that looks like they're falling thousands of feet down. They're falling 10 feet, that kind of thing. So it's like many, 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 many things, but it all starts with what you imagine in your head. And so we start with the storyboard, and I start to I read the script. I imagine, after asking many, many questions to the writers of things that are not on the page, like, how do you imagine this, or what do you see here, and that kind of thing. Then I go away and I'll just start to, I do a very bad drawing version myself, then I bring in a professional and we do it better. But I think, okay, well, I want to see Tormund here. I want to see him seeing the dragon from that far away. I want to see the dragon whoosh by him, and then, maybe it starts to breathe blue fire at this point, and how are we seeing that from this angle or this angle, all those kind of things. So you draw it the way, as if everything is real. And then, like, as if there is a wall, as if there is a dragon, like you're doing a comic book or anything, you draw it as you imagine it. And then somebody looks at those drawings and says, okay, well, we have this much wall, we have 100 extras, we don't have a dragon, but we have like a kind of a block of wood that you sit on, that will be a dragon. And so and then you figured out how to make all these elements separately, and then how do we put them all together? And usually there's one more step in the middle, which is called a previs, where you take the storyboards and you animate them, and then you do like a literal animation where you take the actual storyboard and then just kind of like play them in time, one drawing, another drawing, another drawing, makes almost like an animated film. And then you do a previs version, which is with 3D animation, where you go into the computer and you take those shots, you make them 3D, and then you can find camera positions. You have a virtual camera, unless you want to see something from high up, or you want to see it from low, or you want to see it from here. You can move the virtual camera around the virtual set, and you can make a new version of the sequence that looks almost like the finished version, but with animated elements. So it's a very interesting process, but it takes a lot of time. Like, to make a sequence like this takes months of planning, thinking, executing, shooting, editing, visual effects, deliveries. Like, it's a massive, massive operation.